The Constitutional Court has upheld an earlier ruling by the High Court in Pretoria that the Executive Code of Ethics is unconstitutional. The judgment states that members of the executive must disclose donations received for internal political party campaigns. The matter arose after a report by Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane on President Cyril Ramaphosa's 2017 CR17 campaign. However, this ConCourt ruling doesn't compel the CR17 campaign donations to be made public. Joining us now to make sense of the ruling is legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala. Zikalala, good evening and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. What does this mean then as far as the other members of Parliament? Is this purely implicating the executive and them disclosing? I mean, there are other parties as well, I'm sure, who use funds to get into positions that later on guarantee them positions as member of Parliament. Does it apply to them?
For now, no, because as long as the Executive Ethics Act applies to you, then after 12 months, this particular amendment is going to apply to you as well. So I think it might be prudent for Parliament to then say, let's do a cross-check and look at all the legislation which is applicable, that certainly deals with the accountability, the transparency, and the openness principles when it comes to members of Parliament or any single person that we deal with, and also within our political parties. If at the end of the day there are public funds or public decisions in which we are supposed to or ought to have taken, let's extend this particular definition and level of accountability to you. The motion or the intention behind is the famous, or behind this whole process, I would say align it with the famous saying of that, he who pays the piper calls the tunes. So at the end of the day, you want to know that the decisions in which you are taking are solely for the best interest of us as South Africans and members of the public, or are you serving other intentions or other visions in which are not really aligned to us as members of the public? So this level of accountability must extend to everyone and not only to individuals in which the Executive Ethics Code would then apply to.
So, I mean, it applies to mayors, it applies to premiers, it applies to the president, and so on and so forth. Does it therefore then go to say that, for example, you've got people currently who are not in the executive, in the ANC, who are campaigning for their positions in the elective conference in December? Will those people then have to disclose after? All right? So let's say, for example, Dr. Zwelini Mkhize is elected president, and then he therefore becomes president. Does that mean when he gets into that office, he will then need to tell us how he got money when he was campaigning during 2022?
If the 12 months has lapsed and they have stuck to the timeline that has been afforded to or prescribed by the Constitutional Court, then yes, we'll have to account at the end of the day. So by the time he comes in and this particular amendment has taken place, they would say to him, as you go or as you enter this particular office, can you please disclose to us from a personal perspective, Kabazela, who are the individuals that assisted you in ascending to the office inside or within your party politics, and also from the African National Congress as a political party, please tell us who your donors are, because there's also the Political Finance Act, which is able to take care of all those particular processes. So what is going to be crucial here is the element of time. Can you be able to do these particular amendments in time for general elections? If you can, then definitely you will need to account at the end of the day.
So at this point, where it sits at the desk of the president. Is it something that would still need to come back to Parliament?
Yes, it would have to, because all the legislations in which we are discussing, at the end of the day, they have to be passed, and Parliament will have to give it a green stamp and say, yes, these are the particular amendments that we have done. But on this one, I do not think that you need the whole 12 months in order to effect these amendments. I would say within a period, within 3 to 6 months, if they're working efficiently, they could be done and dusted. And by the time the next elections, general elections arise or they come into being, definitely these particular amendments would have taken place. So the longer you take, the more you delay your level of accountability. The shorter you take, the more seriously you're going to be able to show us as members of the public we are indeed serious about accountability, and want it to happen in the next tranche of our general elections. And anyone who comes into any public office will have to account deeply or extensively as to who exactly assisted you at the end of the day to ascend to the office in which you are currently occupying.
We've seen the impacts of the Party Funding Act and how that has limited resources towards particular political parties. Is this likely going to have the same impact?
It will have the same impact in two tranches. Firstly, you may see the decline of people who are going to say, I want to sponsor a particular campaign of this individual to ascend to an office within the political party. Or the inverse would then to say, it then enables us on the level of accountability to call upon those individuals who are now elected as presidents, as mayors, or even as ministers, to then say to them, please account to us as members of the public, whether they are individuals that actually assisted you into getting where you are. Where I'm coming with this, if this particular amendment could have taken place, by the time the public protector made her recommendations and findings in terms of saying, Mr. President, I have reason to believe that you've broken the Executive Ethics Code, the public protector would have been okay had it been that this particular amendment has actually taken place. So the rationality used by the public protector at the time was correct. It's just that the legal instrument that calls upon the president to account was not there. Hence, you cannot force the president to account on an instrument which does not exist, or to put it precisely, in a law which does not exist at that particular point in time. So what's going to happen now? They're going to say, yes, there is a law or a legal instrument that enables the president to then account. Please account fully so that at the end of the day, there are no private funders or people who are going to be left out when it comes to a level of accountability. Where are we going with this? We want openness, we want transparency, we want to make sure that we do things above board. Yeah. We want to make sure that those people who are active funders of your campaign, regardless whether it's inside or outside of your political party, do not have a closer or are not closer to your ears compared to anybody else. We want to make sure that no public funds are used in any political funding activities and everything is done in a nice and transparent manner.
Mpumelelo Zikalala, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Legal analyst there, helping us understand the outcomes of that ConCourt ruling.